disheartened and broken prosecutor moves in the room where Angle statue is right now. He shouts out loud saying that he can't do it anymore. If this is what it's going to be, then end the contract and leave us alone. At the same time, another notification pops up informing prosecutor that an upper-ranked player is being dispatched from the Angel faction. Prosecutor needs to follow his orders and eliminate Sungwoo. This is his final warning. If he refuses to follow this order, then he will face judgment. Prosecutor becomes angrier after hearing this new order. At the same time, Manhwa Seong barges into the room stating that she has something to report. Some people approached their northern border. They are from a foreign server, and they most probably look like Slavic people. They are saying that they are from Angel faction and the owners of Six-Winged Statue, plus they asked the border patrol to bring the commander. Prosecutor is thinking that maybe these Slavic people are from the Russian server. Judging by their timing, they must have been preparing for it for some time. Manhwa Seong further informs him that when the border patrol tried to check them, one of them created a snowstorm and blew them away. With just one blow, 50 troops and the entire guard post got blown away. Prosecutor is stunned to hear that there is someone who can blow away 50 elite troops in a single blow, and Manhwa Seong suggests that the prosecutor should talk to them as a diplomat. First China, then Japan, and now Russia is trying to mess with their server. Prosecutor says that if our land does not unite, then it's destined to get swallowed up by foreign forces. Manhwa Seong inquires about the orders of the prosecutor. Prosecutor orders her to go and find Sungwoo, as this is an affair between people who swing their knives first. Deep down, he is thinking that these Russians need to taste the famous Grim Reaper scythe of the Korean server. The next day at Suwon town, it turns out some foreigners came to visit them as well. There is a black man and 2 white women. They are saying that they are from the American server. The American player says that they are from the American server number 1, which is located at the east coast of America. The players from the Suwon town are a bit amazed as these American players came here after crossing the Pacific Ocean, which is not an easy feast to pull off. Spearman Kyung-soo is thinking that these Americans should be busy establishing power bases and building facilities. Why did they came all the way here while taking such a huge risk? The male player says that they landed on a nearby coast 3 days ago. He further says that the amazing role played by the World Tree faction has left a deep impression on them. They are here because they wanted to meet them and talk about some things. He presents a card stating that he is Jonathan Cage, Foreign Affairs Team 1 leader. He is from WPU, which is the first force of the American server. Spearman Kyung-soo introduces himself as the General Affairs Team leader of the World Tree faction. Jonathan kindly requests if he can meet the Necromancer. Spearman Kyung-soo says that it is not possible right now, and Jonathan asks if he is not here right now. Spearman Kyung-soo informs him that the Necromancer is working on something important inside, and it will take some time until he is free. But in reality, Sungwoo is not in town right now, and if these guys have approached them in order to invade, then they won't miss this chance. Jonathan says that he will be waiting nearby and he will contact them after every 12 hours. Spearman Kyung-soo asks about their purpose of visit so he can inform the Necromancer in advance. Jonathan says that they want the world's reunion and an international unifying organization. In order to make peace, they need to discuss these topics with the renowned Korean server hero. While they leave, Spearman Kyung-soo is thinking that these guys are acting like Americans from the world before the fall. But it's too soon to call for peace. Meanwhile, Sungwoo is moving in a helicopter belonging to the Liberation Guild. Manhwa Seong informs him that there was a one-sided massacre from the group that's supposedly from Russia against the guards posted at the border. After that, the attacker got the nerve to ask for a negotiation with the Liberation Guild, but the prosecutor did not agree to it. Manhwa Seong further informs him that the Russians called it a negotiation, but what they really wanted was complete surrender. The prosecutor and their guild members got frozen by frost magic, and that's the last message she received before getting here. Sungwoo asks that if there is a chance of them being alive after getting frozen. Manhwa Seong says that they have no idea, and she is hoping that it's a magic that only gives a status abnormality without dealing actual damage. After freezing the prosecutor, they seem to have planted something in the Namsan mountain, and following that, the temperature in Seoul has dropped significantly. Reports say that the Namsan mountain has become like Mount Everest, and it cannot be approached. Sungwoo has an idea about the identity of this person since he saw him in the memory fragment of the Chinese diplomat. All of a sudden, Han-ho starts feeling cold, and he asks the pilot if he turned the heater off. Manhwa Seong informs them that the temperature of the area around Namsan has gone down to -25 degrees, and it seems to be constantly lowering. Hanho asks Sungwoo if their dark fire will be able to withstand this with just the fire spirit stone, and Sungwoo has no idea what Hanho is mumbling about. It turns out that Hanho just named the dragon hatchling, dark fire and black flame dragon. Sungwoo is regretting his decision of letting Hanho name the dragon, and Jisoo Yun says that maybe they should just name it Mireo. After some time they arrive at their destination. Everything around them is frozen, and Manhwa Seong says that even getting away from this situation is hard, since they won't just sit around and watch. Hanho says that Ice Age might come back at this point, and Sungwoo agrees to him, saying that might actually be their goal. Manhwa Seong informs Sungwoo that the Russians know that we are here, and they are asking for negotiations. Manhwa Seong further says that these Russians are definitely plotting something, as their goal can't be simple negotiation, and Sungwoo replies by saying that they should still go. Sungwoo orders Manhwa Seong to go and check up on the prosecutor if he is still alive once she is out of their sight, and dispatch as many surveillance teams as they can. With that being said, Sungwoo moves toward the negotiation area. Hanho asks him if they are making the right choice by going themselves, and maybe they should call Jisoo Yun as well. It turns out that Mireo didn't want it to be separated from him, and Jisoo Yun can keep him tied down. Meanwhile, on the other side, the Liberation Guild members tell Jisoo Yun to stop hugging the baby like that, or she will become a dragon slayer. Sungwoo arrives at the meeting point while thinking that if the Russians found out about the baby dragon, then they will definitely go for him. A female Russian player welcomes them. There are some hunters from Siberia behind her, and Sungwoo is wondering where that boss he saw in the memory fragment can be. There is one red bear here that he used to have by his side. The frame of this red bear is really good, and he desperately wants to make him into his minion. He snaps back to the present when the Russian chick screams at him, saying, "What are you looking at?" when a beautiful Russian lady is standing before him. Sungwoo asks her if she is the one in charge, and she replies by saying that she is not. She introduces herself as Titania. She is the Eastern Union leader of the Siberian hunters, and their Tsar passed out after drinking. Sungwoo is thinking that first the Emperor of China, then the Sword Saint of Japan, and now a Tsar. It's as if these guys are role-playing in a medieval fantasy movie. Sungwoo inquires about the elements of the negotiation. Titania teases him by saying you want to get down to business right away, and if he is not curious about why they are doing this, but she expected this much from an impatient Korean. Titania informs him that the client has offered 200 million gold coins in order to cut off Sungwoo's neck and destroy the entire Korean server. Titania asks Sungwoo about how much he can offer to stop a fight that's worth 200 million gold coins. Sungwoo is shocked after hearing this amount, and he is wondering about how much are they getting as a down payment. Manhwa Seong asks them about how much they want. Titania says that they need 300 million gold coins if they want them to leave quietly, and 300 million more if they want them to execute the client who targeted them. By looking at the expression of Manhwa Seong, Titania realizes that they don't have that much money, and she warns her to run away before the Tsar wakes up. All of a sudden, Titania flares up. Titania releases a snowstorm and warns them that if they don't leave right now, then there will be more stone statues. Sungwoo now knows that she is the one who froze the prosecutor and his guild members. Sungwoo tells her that he will make a more affordable offer. He gives off an evil smile and tells her to hand over 200 million gold coins if they want to go back alive. After hearing it, Titania becomes angrier as she thinks that this bastard is out of his mind. Sungwoo warns her, saying that if they don't want to run away, then instead of an ice statue, he will pull out their skeletons from their bodies. The snowstorm keeps on intensifying, but a heat source radiating from Sungwoo keeps the area around him warm. It turns out that Sungwoo has transformed into his Anubis form. Titania is confused as a necromancer could not release heat from his body. Even Sungwoo did not know before that his hellfire armor have an effect like this, as well as flame immunity. It turns out that the advanced fire spirit stone is reacting to Sungwoo's power and releasing a special effect. It temporarily increased his flame immunity by 10% and flame damage by 10%. With this, Sungwoo don't have to worry about the snowstorm, and he orders his minions to attack. Titania informs her teammates that this necromancer turned out to be a trickier guy than she thought, and they can't go easy on him. Her fellow hunters are full of confidence, and they say that they will take care of him before the Tsar wakes up. Hanho tells Sungwoo that these foes look strong, and Sungwoo asks him about when did they ever faced weak foes. Titania attacks the orc minions with ice sphere bullets. The minions who got affected by it freeze in place. Another heavy attack crumbles the immobilized minions into pieces. An old hunter turns out to be the one who did it. Sungwoo is thinking that this time his enemies are using a combination of extremely cold magic and long-range attacks. This is on a different level from the wide area magic. The skeletons are not resurrecting because their bones are frozen, and the hunters are not trying to directly assassinate him. It's a battle of strength, and they are planning on pinning him down before his full power is restored. But bones are not the only things he can control. With that being said, Sungwoo uses the Bihyung's hand fan to summon ghosts. Sungwoo can now control ghosts. His affinity to the death attribute is max right now. He will not be affected by physical attacks. He can now control weapons of all ranks. His target will receive the Chaos Curse. He can now perform spirit possession to targets that fall below a certain rank. Sungwoo starts creating bone spears, and hunters with shields get ahead to block them. But these bone spears are not so simple, and they keep changing their trajectory. One of the hunters is yelling at his own fellow hunter for being and slow poke, and he gets pierced through the neck by a flying spear. It turns out that the ghosts were wielding these spears and changing their trajectory. They look above to find out that the wyverns are dropping something on them. Titania uses her skill Ice Umbrella to block the incoming sky objects. Some of the flying things slipped through the cracks and they turn out to be zombies. Victor and his priests of death are the ones who are conducting this sky raid. It turns out that Sungwoo previously commanded him to turn all the neglected monster corpses in the Korean server into zombies, and he just returned after completing his task. The hunters had posted some scouts on the outskirts to scan the area for any incoming reinforcements, but the scouts are not responding at all. On the other side, someone just slayed a human player. It turns out that Jisoo Yun just finished off the last remaining scout with the help of Liberation Guild. Titania motivates her fellow hunters by telling them that these mere zombies are not much of a threat and they can easily wipe them out. Sungwoo is thinking that the fact that they still believe they can win is annoying, so he summons his recently added king monster, the Bone Salamander. Bone Salamander goes directly for Titania in full force. Titania is still confident that she can freeze this monster while he is still burning like a lava. Sungwoo is thinking that the flames of Fire Salamander have become weaker ever since it became a minion, but this should still be enough to stop a mage. Now the only thing left is the huge red bear, but it turns out that Death Knight along with other boss minions of Sungwoo have already taken care of it. Sungwoo earned 4,500,000 gold coins for hunting the Ancient Druid Bloodkin. This beast was a level 11 ancient giant bear. Sungwoo is quite happy since he got his hands on a new perfect minion. The hunters desperately try to catch the Liberation Guild members who came with Sungwoo as hostages in a last-ditch effort, but they get done in by Hanho's throwing knives. With each kill, Hanho can maintain his Asura form, and he keeps on annihilating the hunters one by one. Titania seems to be exhausted and she yells at the Tsar for his rash decision, as she told the Tsar before that they should investigate first before striking, since their target is a famous guy. Sungwoo strikes the ice shield of Titania with his scythe. Her shield could not take any more damage and it shatters. She can see a punch coming toward her face through the broken shield. Sungwoo punches her face with all of his force. Sungwoo was planning to kill her in one blow, but she is tougher than a rock. Titania tells her fellow hunter that this is not going to work, and he should wake up the Tsar. The hunter knows that the Tsar will lose his mind if they wake him up now, but they don't have any other option left. But before the hunter can move, the Tsar makes his entrance along with his ancient bears. Titania orders the other hunters to move back since the Tsar has entered the battlefield. Tsar asks Titania why there is so much noise, and he previously told her to not wake him up before the sunset. Titania says that they are close to dying, and her face has been restructured by this bastard. Tsar looks at her face and comments that it does look more crumpled than before. Tsar comes face to face with Sungwoo, and he asks if this is the dog of death that the Chinese were talking about. This dog is cool looking, so he will stuff him up and hang him in front of his room. Sungwoo says that he wants to do something similar to him, but the Tsar is still lacking, so he asks the Tsar if he can get bigger or transform into a beast. But before he can continue, Jisoo Yun makes her way to Sungwoo in a hurry. Jisoo Yun informs Sungwoo that Miro disappeared, but before she can continue, Miro appears out of the shadow of Sungwoo. He is using the shadow movement skill of Sungwoo. Tsar asks about what is up with Sungwoo's pet, and its size is perfect to trample and kill. Miro becomes angry after hearing the yapping of an elderly citizen whose time on this green earth is about to run out. Miro uses Dragon Fear skill on the ancient bears, which stiffens living beings that have low level and intelligence. A notification pops up informing them that the target's level and strength stats are substantial, so Dragon Fear will only be partially applied. All of their bodily functions have fallen into a stiffened state by 60%. Ancient bears are acting weaker, so Tsar asks them if they secretly drank his vodka or something. Hanho says that these teddy bears are only big in size, but they are no match for Miro. Even the Tsar is confused at the current state of his bears. All of a sudden, Tsar lights up as he orders the ancient bears to go and trample that little thing right now. At the same time, Miro starts activating another skill. A warning notification pops up informing them that giant spirit regeneration begins in the area. Sungwoo is amazed as Miru already learned the giant spirit regeneration, but Miru does not have anything to summon. In a few seconds, some chicken minions pop out of the abyss. Tsar is confused as to what this little bastard is up to, and Sungwoo says that he is not sure either. A notification pops up informing Sungwoo that the Black Dragon hatchling applies the skill inherited from him and created a new skill. All chicken minions turn into fire type. This is an expert rank skill and its name is Flame Death. It consumes 5 mana for 1 flame. The user can grant Death Flame to the undead under their command. This flame cannot get easily put out, and it deals flame damage to targets that make contact with it. Victor Lich asks Sungwoo about this skill, and Sungwoo says that even he is not sure what is going on. Mireu starts biting the head of Victor Lich, and they get a hidden synergy effect. This is a hidden type class synergy called Death's Harmony. It requires 3 or more users of Lich level death magic. It upgrades a random ultimate skill to its ultimate level. Sungwoo's bone weapon production skill, which was on the expert level, has been increased to ultimate rank due to this synergy. Tsar is becoming anxious as he is thinking that these guys are playing him for a fool. Tsar activates a skill which summons a giant ancestral spectral fire bear behind him. The bear smashes his claws with his full might. This in turn creates a huge firebomb called Tsar Bomba. Tsar Bomba was a thermonuclear aerial bomb, as well as the most powerful nuclear weapon ever created and tested on the 30th of October, 1961.